April in Gasper Cottage is a month of tulips. Whether seen here as basically solo glories or in little groups massed around or just even dotted through the borders, they really lift the spirits and are something to rejoice. And somehow the colours seem to work even when they don't really work. I don't know how that is, but it is. This is in the secret garden. There's just a gorgeous mass of new foliage coming through here. And everything is a vivid, bright green. And then you've got some of the more subtle colours of the grasses and the more Mediterranean plants that always have that kind of silvery bloom. And also in the secret garden, I've got the little pond, which is coming back to life, full of newt action at the moment. It's very exciting. But also at the moment there's this glorious little crabapple multi-stem tree in the corner, which set against the euphorbia and the honesty there, more of those later, the blossom was just perfect on this day. And just get closer and closer and enjoy it more and more. And this is the time for those crabapple blossoms. I mean, the main apples come a bit later. This is out in the orchard, this one's called Laura. And some of the apples come through, so this is sunset, but most of the apples are much later. But I've got quite a lot of the blossom coming through on the much smaller baby trees that have just gone in, which are some cherries and some pears that have gone in. Both of those are looking fabulous, but the trees are quite small, so they don't have a huge impact taken en masse. And at this point in the year, the orchard is still quite low grass and it's all quite open and bare. But it's nice to see the overall shapes, and obviously the statues looking great. And then you come down to the pond, which is always heavenly. Even though obviously now it's still really waiting for everything to grow. Things are just starting to come through, but that real rush of growth that comes through is a bit later. But that dawn light is heavenly. And up here under my silver birch, my little silver birch grove, there's a mass of these cowslips, which I did introduce, but they have multiplied and multiplied, and they are finding their way around everywhere. And they're set off really well by some of the darker foliage, and also the anemone flowers and the brunnera flowers. So yellow and blue. It's a classic combination. Gotta love it. And these Anamphili grasses are great. They're an evergreen grass, so they haven't been cut back. And they're very, very happy, and they just catch the light. But spring, bits of the hedge come to life. And it's always that lovely moment when the first couple of plants come out. And Kevin, of course, comes out to play. The front garden is dominated by this mass of the euphorbia and the honesty. A lot of the honesty there is self-sown, which is the kind of the common purple form, but I also have a slightly more refined version that we've grown from seed, which are these ones called Corfu Blue. They're a slightly more attractive plant, very similar effect. Don't know if it's really worth it. But Kevin definitely thinks it's all worth keeping an eye on what is going on in the garden. And up by the little stone bench, which is the hunky punk, so those are the name for the little sculptures that are underneath the bench, little medieval squatting men called hunky punks. But the plants there, that's just a mass of stuff called Gallium odoratum, which is just coming into flower. And as you come round, you've got the beginning of the curved bed and those really tall, elegant tulips. And somehow, this is one of those ones where the pink tulip and the yellow euphorbia and the yellow wallflower somehow are all working together. I don't think I really planned it, but the tulips have been there for a few years, and the wallflowers are definitely a first this year, so somehow the combination is working. Maybe there's just enough green around at this time to pull it all together. This is a fantastic tulip, and I've got quite a few of these dotted around, but they are great. And this combination of the brick red and the white, I'm not totally convinced, but I think it works. I think it's rather lovely. I'd be interested in viewers' thoughts. But the red bed is starting to heat up. Lots of promise for the season to come.